Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to make this video a long time ago, but I never found the right time. Today's gonna be the day that we're gonna have this conversation. So for some of you who are new to my channel, my name is Jenny and I relocated back to Africa in 2020. But you guys are gonna notice I'm in the US. We're gonna talk. Hey guys, I'm trying to position you. Okay, this is the best I can do. So anyway, I had an amazing morning. Just had breakfast. Couldn't eat the second. I think it was a raspberry Danish. Could not eat that. My tummy wasn't letting me. So I only had plain croissant and macchiato, caramel macchiato. That's usually my favorite one. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this, you guys know I'm always talking about going back to Africa, investing there. You guys know I've moved back there, even though I'm back in the US for a moment. I do understand why many people from the diaspora may not want to relocate back to Africa, and depending on the country. Once again, I'm going to take the example of Cameroon because that's where I moved to. I'm going to show you guys a video of doctors and nurses who actually saved the life of a baby. Um, and it was emotional. I watched that video and I was like, wow. So go ahead and watch it and then we'll come back and talk.
वो अल्ट्रासाउंड की रिपोर्ट मांग रहे थे कौन एक में करेंगे शायद बस एक में वेट करना कैसे
So if you guys watch the video, that video is going to be in relation to what I'm going to be talking about. Recently, I think in the last 2 months, a cousin of mine gave birth and lost the child at birth, right? She was 9 months. She was full term, never had issues with her pregnancy, nothing like that. And then it just happened that the day she was giving birth, something happened and the baby could not survive. So the baby came out not crying. And yeah, okay. Before that, there was a girlfriend of mine a couple years ago who also lost her child. She was full term and then she lost her child as well. And that was really emotional for her because her whole birth experience, by the way, I'm talking about the people living in Cameroon. So the whole birth experience was really traumatic for her. She wasn't supposed to get pregnant at least for 3 years because there were so many other complications. In addition to that, I'm just giving you guys a couple of examples because I know many people have their own stories. In addition to that, a cousin of mine as well, another cousin of mine, lost her child when she was 8 months. She was already 8 months, almost full term, and then the child just quit breathing and blah blah blah. And then she kept on going to the hospital, told the doctors in Cameroon, I think something is wrong with my child, and then they kept on saying, oh, just be patient, we don't think something is wrong with you. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys that video because it shows how much, if only the medical professionals were taking more time and had more patience and really had those different tactics, right? Trainings in order to save the lives of so many children, I think we'll be in a better place. So the number one reason why I believe that many people from the diaspora may be scared or are not relocating back to Africa, specifically Cameroon, is really because the healthcare system is. So now let me go a little bit more personal. Let me take off my glasses because I feel like I cannot see you guys. So let me go a little bit more personal. So Years ago, I was in Minnesota. I was doing my undergrad in accounting. I was in university, and my mom had breast cancer, right? My mom had breast cancer, and then she went through chemo. For people, I mean, you have to go through chemo. So the doctors in Cameroon told her basically she has to go through surgery, and that they have to remove the bad, I mean, they call it in French ganglion. They have to remove it because that's what is, infected. So my mom went through the whole procedure, the whole surgery, and came out of it, was recovering fine. And at some point, my dad, because she wasn't fully recovered, so my dad had told her, you know what, this is the summertime. I think you should go to France and have a second opinion because you went through chemo, you had a surgery, but I'm not 100% confident. I think you should go to France because my parents usually go to France because you guys know I have many siblings there and stuff like that. So my mom bought her flight ticket and went to France to have a second opinion. By the time she got to the hospital and then she was talking to the doctors and explaining to them how she went through chemo, blah, 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 they were so shocked. They were so shocked because when they did all the exams, guess what? My mom still had cancer. So, whatever surgery was done in Cameroon, they removed the thing that was actually healthy in her breast. So, my mom had to go through chemo second time and she had to have a second surgery. I was in the US and I was buying my mom wigs, right? I was buying my mom wigs because she didn't have hair. And then I remember buying a bunch of wigs and shipping it to France and just to make her feel pretty. That experience, because guys, I think at that moment, I mean that time in my life, I felt like I was gonna lose my mom. It's not even a joke. Because I hear people, I have an auntie of mine, my dad's sister, late sister, who died because of breast cancer. So I think I had those, that trauma already because that was a lovely auntie of mine. And then now my mom is going through it. And then whatever Cameroonian doctors did, they did it wrong. And now she has to redo another procedure. So that was one thing. If we go close again, guys, I'm just giving you examples after examples so that you guys can get a full picture. Okay. My dad had a stroke. You guys who have been watching me by now, recently my dad had a stroke a year and a half ago. Before that, he actually had the first stroke. When he had the first stroke, my mom was in France because, every summer she would go and get her checkup and all of that. So my dad went to the neurosurgeon, and then the neurosurgeon basically told my dad after all the exams and everything, he told my dad that my dad had to take something to for blood clot, right? And he had to take medication in order for the blood to be fluid, right? So my dad doesn't know any better. We don't know any better. So my dad started taking the medications, and his situation just got worse and worse and worse. And then at some point, my mom gave him a call because my mom was getting ready to come back to Cameroon. My sister had just given birth in France. That's why my mom was also there. So my mom was getting ready to come back to Cameroon, and she told my dad, "There's a neurologist that I know of. Can you please go to his place, to his place of business? Because the neurologist is actually somebody." He's originally from Cameroon, but he practiced and got his education in Europe, America, all of that. And then he came back to Cameroon to open his practice. And so my mom told my dad, I think if you're still feeling bad, you have to go to him. So by the time my dad was going there, guess what? The medication he was taking was actually damaging his brain because my dad didn't have a blood clot. They needed to stop the blood from flowing because it was overflowing, and he had to have a different medication that was doing the opposite effect because the blood had to stop overflowing. And instead of doing that, that doctor that my dad had seen at first gave him medication to continue the flow, so it was going to kill my dad. So it was, and my dad is one of those, lucky people, always lucky. That's what, we always say to him. But he was so lucky that he found that doctor, the neurologist. And then the doctor was like, you have to stop this medication right away because this is killing you. Your blood, I mean, your blood is overflowing in your brain, and we have to stop that. That's how my dad survived the first stroke. So I'm giving you all of those different examples because the medical system in Cameroon it's not the best. It's not the best. And I think from many other stories that I've found out, many other stories that are close to home because it's family members, relatives. Um, I used to always say that it's really because we don't have all the equipment, right? When my mom got breast cancer and they were trying to see which area, to remove, which bad, organ to remove, they didn't have the equipment, the machine in order to read, the scans. They couldn't see which one is bad. So they pretty much removed anything that they saw at first when they were doing surgery, when they were performing surgery. And I used to say, we don't have the right tools, we don't have the right equipment. But it's not even about machinery, it's about the people. It's really about the people because even in terms of training, if you during COVID, for example, was another, oh my God, so many people were on life support because people were, impacted and they were in hospitals because of COVID. Many of them were on life support. They were using ventilators in order to breathe. And then I remember one good day, there was power cut and there was no electricity in the hospital. So you guys can just imagine what happened to the people that were on life support. They didn't make it. I had an auntie of mine who was at the hospital because one of her relatives was at the hospital when that happened. And she told me, she said, no nurse, no doctors went there to check if the patient that were on life support, that were on ventilators, actually survived. She had to go upstairs and basically yell and say, this person is about to die because they can't breathe, there's no electricity. So sometimes, as much as I advocate for we have to go back to Africa, we have to, and maybe we should go back to Africa because I went back to Africa, I invested there. um, Maybe we need better training, right? But I do understand and I can relate when people say I'm not going to go back because if something happened to me, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to die there. Now it becomes a thing where you have to have the means to afford medical treatment abroad. I can afford medical treatment abroad. You guys know last year I was dealing with some things and then I went to France, I went to the US. And but for the people who cannot, that's usually a big problem, right? And many people lose their life like that. So I think that's the number one reason why I see most of the diaspora or people who are like, I'm not going to go back to Africa, or specifically, I'm not going to go back to Cameroon because we don't have, a healthcare system that will protect us, that will, advocate for us, that will leave people die. And when it comes to Cameroon, as much as advocates for, we have to be the first one to talk, you know, good things about our nations. That's really the one area where I'm just speechless. Every time I hear some stories, I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, you know what? I've told my parents several times if I have to give birth, I'm definitely not giving birth in Cameroon because I've heard so many horror stories. Um, so yeah, that's the scary part. That's the scary part when you're thinking about moving to Africa. And if you're somebody who already have, like you already have certain conditions, certain illnesses, then I mean, you can always go through the route of like traditional medicine, right? I mean, the traditional medicine that we all know. You can go through that route, but I think that would be the only area and the really, you know, important reason why I believe people don't want to move to Africa. If somebody says, I want to go to Africa, but the healthcare system, what if my children, what if my husband, what if my parents? That's a valid reason. That's a valid reason. And yeah, that's just unfortunate. But anyway, I kind of wanted to talk about that because I wanted to be honest with you guys. As much as I want to talk about the good things of, building our nations, investing there, I still believe that we should be investing there. I still believe that if the system is bad, if the medical system is bad, the people who are, in that field abroad, whether you're in the US, in Germany, in France, wherever, I believe that many of you guys are supposed, I mean, if you want to, you can go back home and build a better system, have the right equipment, train the people the right way. And I think it would make major difference. Yeah, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm scared. I'm scared to be sick in Cameroon and go to hospitals in Cameroon. As much as I want to, I love my country, okay? I love Cameroon. It's just that there's one thing that, if something happened to me, I know for sure I'm not going to be in Cameroon to get medical help for sure, unless really it's an emergency and then I have to get help in the next couple of hours, right? But yeah, so anyway, let me know what you guys think. I know many people have really bad horror stories. But I think that's really something that we can improve on for the people who are in the medical field. If you want to invest in Cameroon, there's always opportunities when it comes to that. We need more doctors, definitely more. Wait, we need more good doctors, not just any doctors. We need good, dedicated doctors, nurses, and then we need equipment. We need people to empathize with other people's hurt. We need people to be humans and not just, machines. And, it's really unfortunate. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm about to head home. I don't think I'm going to take you guys with me, but don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, this tripod is about to fall. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next vlog. Bye.